Hello and welcome to our Space to Steep video, the final one for August. I've actually really enjoyed making these little videos for you, and so part of me is thinking like I could continue with this next month, and then the other part of me thinks like it's okay to let some things draw to an end. So we'll see what happens, but I've really enjoyed the Space to Steep. So inviting you to take a nice deep breath, soften your shoulders and relax your face. Settle into your body and call your spirit back, honoring where you are and what you've chosen. Okay, and so I actually wanted to share a poem that was from earlier in my writing time before I did this series, and so it might seem a little odd to share it now because it's about kind of crossing the threshold into the cauldron, but I think it's a helpful reminder for this time of year, for the feelings, for the energy, for the language of the landscape of this time of year. So I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. So, we sense threshold time approaching, the crossroads of choice and change. A fire burns in the crucible of initiation, and a cauldron call begins to resound through our lives, beckoning us once more to steep. Let us gather our resources and remember what we know. Let us be brave enough to let our own work carry and nurture us as we step into a time of contemplation. Let us pause at the crossroads, watching life invite us forward and in, present with what's arising as the steam lifts and bubbles rise and the flames kindle up into a blaze. Let us ground ourselves in the wisdom of the land and the cycles of the seasons of transformation and renewal, the great unfolding right here. And then, with a hand against our hearts and a hand against our bellies, let us step in and sink down, coming to a place of rest as we begin to soak in all that is here, waiting for time, this broth of being, this brew of becoming, this tincture of transformation and trust. So no matter what cauldron time has looked like for you, I hope you have felt something bubble up. I hope you have allowed yourself at least a little space to steep. I hope you have allowed yourself some time for reflection, some time for replenishment, some time for renewal, some time for restoration, some time for reclamation, some time for returning. And I hope you will remember that you can carry this container, this metaphor of steeping in the cauldron of your own life, of marinating in the crucible of change. I hope you will carry that visual with you through the next several months of the year. As I'm recording and writing and thinking, I'm thinking perhaps what I will do is do a cave time series like this as we move into cave time in the winter. So Space to Steep now, we'll have a little break, and then I'll do a cave time series as we move into the winter months. And I think that feels like a good spontaneous idea as we're going along. But one of the things I wanted to say from our little card series is this message. When you grant yourself the moments of peace you crave, they ripple outward to cast their magic across the rest of the day. Don't save it, claim it. Live it now, choose it now, be it now. That's one of the reasons I'm such a tremendous fan of daily practice, but also one of the reasons why I've kept reminding you throughout this month to grant yourself at least a slice of what you crave instead of saving it. I see so often people are and me included, this is not like a criticism of other people, I see it in my own life too, the saving it for later, or saving it for perfect, or saving it for the right time, or saving it for enough time. And so if you save everything you long for having enough time, sometimes you don't get to it. You don't ever get to it because you're waiting for something almost imaginary. You're waiting for the perfect swath of time. I've shared before a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert writing about big magic in her creative book, and she quoted Herman Melville, the Moby Dick author, as talking about longing for these big swaths of uninterrupted time in which to create, and yet there's so many distractions and so many things. And I thought, well, and he wrote Moby Dick anyway, regardless of how you feel about Moby Dick. That's just an example. He wrote Moby Dick anyway. And so creative people throughout the years, throughout the ages, regardless of social media, regardless of phones, regardless of the internet, regardless of distractions, have still felt the tugged in many directions, have still felt that fragmentation, that pull of many needs and many ideas. And yet they managed to create anyway, right there in the middle of it all. So this can be true of creativity, it can be true of magic, it can be true of sacred experiencing, it can be true of goddess magic, it can be true of spirituality, it can be true of any practice, that when you grant yourself some moments of that thing that you crave, it ripples through the rest of your life to affect the rest of your days. As we talked about during the Lamas Replenish retreat, like how we live our moments is how we live our days. So at least some of them should hold what you crave. At least some of them should hold what you long for. So don't save it, claim it, live it now, choose it now, be it now. When you grant yourself some moments of what you crave, they ripple outward to cast their magic across the rest of the day. And so that brings me to our next little card for the day, which is this. We each need time each day to step out of the swirls of others, to exist untethered with only the pulse of presence and the great what is for company. Capital W, capital S, the great what is for company. We need time to replenish ourselves and restore our sense of connection to the sacred, to pause, grateful, alive, and breathing where our feet are, sunshine slipping between the trees to kiss our shoulders. Pausing is the ancestor of action. Listening is the ancestor of discernment. Restoration is the antidote to depletion. Tending to the spirit is the antidote to fragmentation. Let us call together these ancestors and antidotes. Let them steep together in our cauldron of being until we emerge with the confidence that we know what we are here for, what we will offer and do. Okay. And then wrapping up as we close the Space to Steep series, wrapping up with this has got to be, so the poems I shared last week about the coming to the edge and coming to the edge and remembering how to fly, and then getting over the edge and taking time to reclaim your life. Those are like one of my favorite recent poems, but this one I also really love. So this little poem I really love. This is the one from which my transcription auto-generated the to-do list about steeping in the cauldron of your life. And so I really wanted to read that one to you all as well, because this is another one of those poems that came to me in a really powerfully visual way. Like I can see each of these things unfolding. I can see them like they're real, because they are real. And the visual imagery is powerful, and it carries messages for you when you have those kind of visual experiences. Like it's your life telling you something. It's your life telling you something. Steep in the cauldron at the crossroads, that which has called you has beckoned you to sink down and in. Feel the bubbles collect and the steam rise and the flavors meld. Marinate in your own life. Let your layers sluice away, become tender and soft, hot and holy. Say goodbye to could and should. Liberate yourself from obligation and expectation. Rise steaming into the moonlight. Accept your cloak of clarity. Lay lapis beads around your neck. Eat the pomegranate seeds. Feel them tart against your tongue. Feel the star shine on your forehead and the moon in your belly. Take your next step. The way is open before you, and you know where to go. The way is open before you, and you know where to go. So as you emerge from the cauldron at the crossroads of being and becoming, I hope you can feel that sink into you. The way is open before you, and you know where to go. And you can trust yourself. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making Space to Steep. Bye-bye.